The story begins in a lab where Ron, the lab's watchman, is cleaning up. Meanwhile, Ron notices that a scientist named Peter is still working in the lab. Seeing this, Ron tries to joke with Peter, but Peter doesn't pay attention to Ron because he is busy with his work. That's when Ron goes inside the lab to clean up. On the other hand, Peter comes out of the lab to eat something, but because the machine was broken, Peter couldn't get anything to eat. This makes him worried. Here, Ron spots a patient in the lab whose veins have turned completely black. Ron goes near that man and sees a label named Dude on his wrist. Ron thinks that the man's name is Dodd. Suddenly, the patient shakes his hand. Ron is shocked and accidentally bumps into the life monitor, causing a flat line on the monitor screen. Here, we find out that the man is not a normal human being. He is a zombie. Anyway, the zombie immediately attacks Ron and kills him. Peter is still fixing the machine, so he doesn't go inside the lab. After that, Ron turns into a zombie. He attacks Peter and kills him. The next day, we see 3 students named Ben, Carter, and Augie in a school. They are part of a scout group, and their leader is Rogers. They are making a video of their scout activities so that more people can join the scout after watching it. However, no one wanted to join their scout because everyone thought that only losers join the scout at this age. Anyway, Rogers tells all 3 students that tonight Augie will be given the highest badge of scouting, so they will all go camping tonight. After that, Carter and Ben leave for home. On the way, they talk about their scout experience. It turns out that they joined the scout only for Augie. Since Augie's father died, he felt very lonely, so they decided to join the scout for Augie. But next year, Carter and Ben are about to graduate, and they haven't dated any girl yet. Meanwhile, Carter's elder sister, Candle, comes there with her friends Jeff and Chloe and stops because of the damage to her car. Here, we find out that Ben likes Candle, but Candle is dating Jeff, so he doesn't tell her what's in his heart. Candle considers Ben as her younger brother, which makes Ben feel very bad. Carter starts flirting with Chloe, and Jeff makes fun of their scout uniforms. After this, Ben tells Candle about the deer, but Candle sees that there is no deer other than blood marks on the road, which makes Ben feel weird, and he thinks that maybe the deer was just injured. Meanwhile, Carter asks about a party in town, and Jeff gives him the address of the party and invites both of them to it. Carter becomes very happy and decides to go to the party that's going to take place tonight. But when he tells Ben about this, Ben reminds him about the cam. After fixing the car, they both return home. Carter explains his plan to Ben, saying that he will go to the cam first, and when Augie falls asleep, he will quietly go to the party and come back to the camp before morning. Ben didn't feel like going to the party, but because of Carter's constant convincing, he agrees to go. After this, we see Rogers, who is going to his scout campsite, during which he sees a tag with Scientist Peter's name. He was looking at that tag when he feels some movement in the bushes. He comes to the bushes to check, and suddenly a zombie deer attacks Rogers. This is the same deer that had an accident with Ben's car, and it had turned into a zombie. Rogers attacks the deer's eye with a knife and kills it. But as soon as he moves forward, Zombie Peter attacks Rogers and injures him. Meanwhile, Carter and Ben go to a store to buy alcohol. They are immature, so they couldn't buy alcohol themselves. Carter persuades a homeless man to buy alcohol for them in exchange for money. The man goes inside the store but starts buying other things instead of alcohol. Carter goes inside and starts shouting at him. At the same time, a beautiful girl named Dennis comes out of the store. Her bag strap breaks, and Ben helps her by fixing it. Dennis feels grateful and offers to help them in return. She goes inside the store and buys alcohol for them. After that, Dennis goes to work at an adult club across the road. Ben and Carter think of going to the club, but are stopped by a scary-looking bouncer who doesn't allow them inside. They run away from that place and return to the campsite where Augie has already arrived, but Rogers hasn't. The 3 boys are surprised that Rogers hasn't shown up yet. Augie thinks that Rogers might be testing him before giving him the highest scouting badge. They start preparing for the campsite and have fun, becoming a good team. As it gets dark, Rogers still hasn't arrived, and the boys start campfire talks. Here, Augie says that after his father's death, I've got good friends, and I am very happy. That's why I promise that I will never let this scout break. On the other side, we see the candle in the party because Carter and Ben don't come there. They are very tense. Jeff doesn't care, and he starts dancing and distracting the candle. Augie goes to sleep at night, and then Carter and Ben follow their plan to go to the party from there. On the way, Ben sees Roger's knife, which makes him worry about Rogers. Actually, Ben knew that Rogers doesn't go anywhere without his knife. He also notices someone's footprints there. But Carter forces Ben to go in the car, and they both sit in the car. They see that Augie is standing in front of their car. Augie already knew about the party and suspected that Ben and Carter were going there, so he wanted to catch them red-handed. Here, Ben and Carter tell Augie the truth. They don't want to become scouts because they have grown up now. Hearing this, Augie is very sad, and he tells them to go from here. Ben and Carter return to the city and notice that the entire city is empty. However, they don't pay much attention to this and stop near the store to change their uniforms. Ben is surprised to see the broken gate of the store. Then, Carter calls him and informs him that the bouncer of Dennis's club is not standing at the gate, so they can go inside now. They both enter the club, only to find it completely empty. Ben sits in front of a stage where a dancer starts her show. However, this dancer has turned into a zombie, and due to the dim light, her dark veins are not visible. Carter starts throwing money at the dancer, making the zombie dancer perform a pole dance and hang upside down from the pole. Suddenly, the dancer's neck breaks, and her blood falls on Ben and Carter. They both realize that the bouncer of the club has turned into a zombie and is attacking them. Ben runs towards the washroom, followed by the bouncer. Carter, on the other side, is attacked by the pole dancer turned zombie, and he defends himself by hitting her with a broken bottle. Meanwhile, Augie decides to go to Rogers' house but finds it empty. He leaves a message for Rogers on a small board and suddenly experiences a stomach ache. We see Rogers, now turned into a zombie, noticing Augie from the washroom window and trying to eat him. Augie comes out of the washroom, shocked to see Rogers as a zombie, and starts running to escape. He throws household items at Rogers, who relentlessly pursues him. Augie tries to reach the basement, but Rogers pushes him down the stairs, causing him to fall badly. Rogers follows him to the basement, but Augie manages to burn Rogers with a spray and a lighter, then ties him to a chair and leaves. Meanwhile, Dennis, Ben, and Carter are in the club, discussing the zombie attack that has affected the entire city. They decide to leave the city to escape the zombies. As they try to escape, their car's tire comes off, forcing them to stop and fix it. Dennis holds off the approaching zombies with his empty gun until they manage to repair the tire. They resume their escape but encounter a zombie approaching them at high speed, breaking the car's window. Frightened, Ben turns the car around and heads to the police station for help. When they reach the police station, they don't find anyone there and read a message stating that all the survivors have been kept in a secured checkpoint. Ben and Carter argue about what to do next, but they are interrupted by the arrival of many zombies. They hurry inside the station and close the gate. An officer, now turned into a zombie, starts shooting at them. Carter picks up an axe while Ben grabs a fire extinguisher and they both attack the officer, eventually killing him. However, the zombies outside break the station's gate and enter. The three of them run and lock themselves in a lockup to protect themselves from the zombies. Inside the lockup, Ben and Carter start worrying about Augie, and they both talk about her. After Carter goes to sleep there, Ben makes a pointed weapon with a mop and talks to Dennis. During this time, he hears music playing in a car. After listening to the music, all the zombies start leaving the station, prompting the three of them to think of getting out of there. However, the lockup key is hanging outside, so Ben takes Carter's rubber bands to pick up the key. Here, we see Augie outside the station, indicating that Augie had turned on the car's music to attract the zombies' attention and lead them away from the station. As Augie goes towards the station, he accidentally bumps into a car, setting off the car alarm, which diverts the zombies' attention towards him. While the zombies follow Augie, he quickly rejoins his friends, accidentally stepping on the lockup key and causing it to fall into a hole. Augie remains undeterred and, using the skills he learned from his scout, starts opening the lock. However, a zombie appears, and Ben swiftly kills it with the mop. They all start running out of there and spot a truck on the road. Upon approaching the truck, they find the driver has also turned into a zombie. Augie thinks he can communicate with the zombie driver, so he starts talking and singing to him, getting a brief moment of enjoyment until an army officer shoots and kills the zombie. The army officer offers them a ride, warning that the virus is spreading rapidly, turning people into zombies. Ben realizes there was going to be a secret party in the city with Kendall and her friends, so he informs the officer about the people at the party, leading the officer to go save them. Unfortunately, they find the party location empty as Jeff had given them the wrong address. Augie teases Carter about this, and they start arguing. Eventually, they leave the party location and head to Kendall's house, where they hope to find information about the party. At Kendall's house, they encounter Ems, Fielder, their zombified neighbor, and start searching for Kendall's diary. Augie and Carter hear a noise from below and go to investigate. While down there, Dennis encourages Ben to express his feelings for Kendall and teaches him to kick. Meanwhile, zombies start attacking the house, leading to a chaotic scene where they try to escape through the window. The situation worsens as more zombies arrive and they have to retreat back to Kendall's room, barricading the door with furniture. They plan to escape through the neighbor's house using a trampoline. Everyone jumps on the trampoline and successfully reaches the other side, but when it's Ben's turn, he notices Kendall's diary and goes to pick it up. Zombies break into the room, and Ben manages to reach his friends with the help of the trampoline. They seek refuge in Miss Fielder's house, where they hear sounds coming from the kitchen. Upon investigating, they encounter zombie cats, and Dennis kills one of them with a pen. However, there are more zombie cats in the kitchen. All those cats attack them, and to escape, they all run to the garage. They steal Ms. Fielder's car and start driving away. There, they spot Rogers standing in the middle of the road. However, instead of stopping, Ben drives the car over Rogers and leaves. After that, Ben asks Dennis to seek help from the army. So Dennis takes a bike and goes to ask for help from the army. Here, all three boys find the address of their party in Kendall's diary. Thus, they all leave to save Kendall. But before that, they stop at a hardware shop to make some weapons for themselves. Meanwhile, at the party's building, a zombie enters after hearing the music. Chloe meets a new boy at the party and hangs out with him. While Chloe watches a video on her phone, a zombie approaches her, kills the boy, and comes after Chloe, causing her to scream. On the dance floor, Kendall worries about her brother and his friends. Jeff explains that he gave Carter the wrong address, which is why they haven't arrived yet. This angers Kendall. Chloe, who has turned into a zombie, attacks Jeff and bites him, making Kendall scream and try to run away. But as soon as she opens the gate, many zombies start coming in, attacking everyone at the party. Ben, Augie, and Carter arrive at the party and start fighting the zombies, killing them with their weapons. Carter encounters his crush, Chloe, and is saddened when he kills her. Meanwhile, Ben encounters Jeff and happily kills him. Ben tries to save Kendall, but more zombies block his path. However, his friends clear the way by killing the zombies, and they manage to evacuate the remaining people from the party and close the gate, preventing the zombies from following them. They reach the basketball court inside the building, but there seems to be no escape. Augie reveals that he had prepared a bomb for emergencies and starts burning it to kill all the zombies. At that moment, Dennis arrives and shows them the way to escape. Ben and Carter follow him, while Augie continues burning the bomb. The bomb catches fire, and Augie escapes the building just before the blast. They witness the building being blasted, but surprisingly, Rogers is still alive and goes to attack them. Fortunately, the army arrives and kills Rogers. The next morning, Ben is seen at the army camp, where he asks Dennis on a date. Dennis reminds him that he has someone else in his heart, so Ben realizes his feelings and goes to Kendall, kissing her, which makes her very happy. And with that, this amazing movie concludes. Thank you for subscribing to our channel.